This is my audience.
Rob,
Christina.
Justin,
Alex.
Robbie. And today we will be talking about CTE. Now, CTE is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. And we're going to abbreviate that short to just CTE to make this a little easier for me to say. How many of you guys have played sports, have kids in sports, families in sports, enjoy sports like I enjoy sports? Everybody, right? I mean, for the most part, I would say a general amount of the United States is into sports. And most of these sports, if not all of these sports, include some way, shape, or form to get contact to the head. And this is what this is about today, is how we've gotten to CTE and how it's happened. Ways we're trying to understand CTE, and also ways we're trying to stop CTE. We're going to try to reduce it. So initially what I'm going to talk to you about is how it started. And sorry if I'm backwards. But it started with sports, obviously. The most effective are sports. It started with football, head-to-head contact in football, head-to-head contact in hockey, baseball. All these sports listed are prime examples of trauma to the head. And to give you stats on how this affects people, SB Nation's reporter Gianna Thompson on July 25, 2017 reported that 99% of NFL donated brains were affected with CTE. Now, donated brains is a weird word, right? Because you're kind of confused what I'm talking about. And that's my next point, is where we get this stuff from and how we got there. So just to touch back, you can see the football helmets, MRI machines, old boxing gloves, things that we did in the past that didn't protect our heads. Things we did that we weren't aware that this was a life-changing or life-threatening event. It was just a manliness thing, you know. Who was tougher? Who was this? Who was that? And without looking towards the future and seeing how this affected people. And technology's helped us through the way. So what does it look like? You can see through this timeline, it might be a little hard to see being so far away, but you can see that this dot here is the CTE and how it grows over time. Now, common symptoms for CTE are, the Mayo Clinic staff says that common symptoms for CTE are difficulty thinking, depression, short-term memory loss. I mean, symptoms that are typical to a common flu or a headache or anything. I mean, pregnancy even. It's really hard to nail down if somebody has CTE, and we don't have the technology today yet to tell if somebody has CTE before they've passed away. So that's half the issue. So what we're doing to stop CTE or to prevent CTE in the future is we're moving towards education. We're educating our coaches. We're educating our kids that play these sports. We're taking precautions. We're doing what we can to keep people from being in situations where they're going to be exposed to CTE. Other things we're doing is sports training staff. And now every sports, high school, from Little League baseball to professional sports, there's a sports trainer who has a degree, is schooled and trained to treat head trauma incidents. Other things we're doing are training kids at a young age, which I think personally is the most important, is teaching kids that when they learn how to for example in football, when they learn how to tackle someone, not to lead with their head. It's education at that level that gets dispersed on down. So one way that the professional side of things is the New York Times reporter Judy Battista said on March 20th that NFL owners passed a rule that prohibits runners and defenders from lowering their heads to strike a forcible blow. So they voted on that, 21-3, it passed for the NFL owners. So that tells everybody that the NFL, in a professional side of things, sees this as an issue as well, and they're taking steps to also reduce its impacts. So to recap on all this, CTE is a really bad disease, and it's a degenerative brain trauma, and it causes death. I mean, and right now the only way to tell if somebody has it is for scientists to pull their brain out, and we can't do that if we're still alive. So all we can do right now is work to prevent it, to take steps to prevent it. Now that we know how it's caused, now that we know what steps we can take to prevent it, we need to prevent it. So thank you very much for listening.